Hey, how's it going, everybody? We are live. I'm going to fix something really quickly here. Hold on one second. I gotta, we're back. We got Caesar's Sportsbook helping us out, and I'm gonna make some of these odds here. I'm gonna kind of fix these odds because you got. I want to give you guys some of these best odds here. You got Manchester City now at plus 250 to win the Champions League. PSG is plus 550, somehow behind Liverpool. Explain that one to me, please. Explain that one to me. Anyway, we'll get to that later. So I just wanted to show you right away, right off the bat, new sponsor, Caesar Sportsbook. Welcome to our sponsor, Caesar Sportsbook. You get a free bet insurance up to $1,250. Let me put glasses on so I can see. I got a little bit of an issue with my glasses, right? So my glasses are for distance, right? So, I can see. But then they say, well, when you can't read up close with them sometimes. So like sometimes when I go like this, it's a little blurry. So like I take it off and I say, oh yeah, welcome to our sponsor, Caesar Sportsbook. First free bet insurance up to $1,250. First time users download the app today, right? So I'm like in the middle here. When I'm streaming, I'm like I don't want to be like back here, which is probably better for my eyes. And I don't want to be up like here. So like you can see up my nose. So like I'm in the middle. So sometimes I can I take my glasses off and I can see, but other times I can't. So I'm going to try them with my glasses today. I do want to fix these futures odds though, to be honest, on the Champions League. So but while we're waiting for AM Plus Money to jump on, I'm going to fix these odds for you. Liverpool plus 500. I'm going to run them at the bottom for you. PSG is now plus 550. Bayern plus 600. I don't love that bet. Real Madrid 900. Barcelona 1,400. Tottenham 1,600. Chelsea 1,600. So I'm going to put those odds in right now so you can see them. Man, we talked a little bit about this. We're going to go more in depth into these games today. That's the plan. We should have starting lineups here as AM Plus Money. What's up? We're just kind of changing. I was fixing the Champions League odds here at the bottom because somehow PSG's fallen to third, Liverpool's second. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that the four English teams are all in the top 8 because the league is so good. I think everybody kind of realizes now that these Tottenham and Chelsea, even they probably won't finish close to the top of the Premier League, have a chance to win the Champions League just because these other teams aren't any good. But it's interesting what money can do for this league. I mean, the amount of money into the Premier League has been staggering, and we have basically just showing the futures odds here for. Let me see if I can pull this up. Futures odds for the Champions League, but I also want to take a look at the futures leagues for the futures odds for the Premier League because I think Arsenal, Man United, and this is not knowing which teams are going to drop down from the Champions League yet, but Arsenal and Manchester United, the top two picks there, and I have a feeling that West Ham is probably favored in this tournament. No bets, but West Ham will probably be favored there. I mean, I just think that goes to the strength of the Premier League. Is that the kind, when you're looking at these games, are you taking into account the strength of the league in some of these, as well as your bets?
Oh, of course, just because, it's always tougher to do some of these smaller teams, just because like you get a team like a Dynamo Zagreb or a Salzburg that dominates in their league, but you don't play any tough competition. And then this is really the bar for them to see how they match up against the best in Europe. So I can totally see why the books are doing that with the odds for the Premier League teams, but doesn't make it right, because there's a lot of these Premier League teams that really don't have a chance of going as deep as maybe another team. And it all depends also on the draw too. Like some of these groups are easier than the others. Like I think, who is it? Like I know PSG is in a pretty tough group with the Benfica and the and Juventus in there. Then you got like Man City, who's in a walkover group with Dortmund, Copenhagen.
Absolutely stunned that Manchester City got a really easy group again. I mean, when they play in the FA Cup, they play they play like 18th division teams in like the fourth round. Like it's amazing. And then you get these teams like, I mean, Manchester United always gets tough draws, and I think it's whatever. I'd rather play better teams, but I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, Sevilla is terrible. Dortmund, Copenhagen, like Manchester City's going to win that group with 6 wins. And that there's not even, this is maybe even talking about, when you go and you look at, the match day 6 here, because Manchester City will have this wrapped up by match day 6. They play, I'm sure they probably get the bad team in the middle there. Where's there? Yeah, they get Copenhagen match day 3 and 4. So they'll have it locked up. And then they go to Dortmund match day 5, which, they probably won't even bring anybody to those games. And, match day 6 is at home against Sevilla, who they'll dominate. But, I know we talked a little bit about these games yesterday. So, maybe talk a little bit more about some strategy to these games. Because I do think, as you've said a lot, sometimes you want to just wait and see what happens in the first game or in the first day, and maybe start targeting these, with obviously with some of the teams. I'm going to be on Benfica and the teams I think will win, but when it gets down to that match day 3 and 4, when you're playing the same team, back to back, and it's a lot of times it's teams, there's some teams where like Real Madrid is playing Shakhtar. They're going to beat them 5-0 at home and maybe 2-1 away, but there's a lot of opportunity to make some money in those games, because you can kind of go a little bit lighter maybe on match day 1 or 2, but then when you start to figure out what's going on with the groups, you can really start to smash these bets. I mean, I know you've talked about this with some of the other competitions. Is that kind of your strategy here, some of these?
Yeah, definitely something I'm looking to do. I like to wait. It depends really on the team, right? Like right now, for example, I would jump on a Barcelona at plus 1,400, because I think that's only going to go down once they start playing the group stage and things like that. But like, if you're interested in taking a team like Man City, who's the favorite, I mean, yeah, get them now, because as the competition whittles down, that's probably a game that's gonna end up maybe even going more. But yeah, it all depends. Like a team like PSG, I bet just because of the strength of their group, that might be one to wait for if you want to bet them to win the entire tournament, because it's plus 550 right now, but that'll probably go up if they end up dropping points to a team like Benfica or Juventus. It all really depends. I mean, I still think they're probably the best in the group and they should go 6-0-0, but you never know, things happen, and you can take advantage of those because PSG, if they slip up in one of these group stage games, it's probably just an oversight, I would think, because they do have one of the stronger teams by far with just the three forwards there. Like,
yeah,
they can score like no tomorrow. But yeah, that's one where you definitely would want to see what happens, just because you might end up getting them at a better price if they underperform.
I think
Yeah,
when you look at some of these specific, I just for example, this, Eintracht Frankfurt, Sporting Lisbon. Frankfurt obviously won the Europa League in penalties, and decent start to the season. Going to play Sporting Lisbon. I don't have a lot of a feel for that game at plus, plus 106. Now the second time they play on match day 6. I might hammer Frankfurt, or match day 2 I might hammer, waiting on some of the results, for Frankfurt and Sporting Lisbon to see how that happens. I know each game is kind of a different contest, and now it's different because you're playing this game and then you're playing the game on the weekend, and then you're playing the next game as well next week because of the World Cup. But my priority would be to target. I always want to target good teams: Real Madrid, Manchester City, PSG, Barcelona, because I'm going to put them back in a good team because they spent, they bought half of Europe. Bayern against Inter, and then maybe Liverpool against Napoli because Liverpool's even money. And then maybe take some of these other games. I know I posted something on Bettor's Insider today. I think I picked maybe like 5 or 6 of these games. I actually do like a lot of the games today, but there's, Dortmund versus Copenhagen we talked about yesterday. I mean, I have no feel for that game, and I'm definitely not taking Dortmund at -1.5, against Copenhagen. I don't even think Dortmund's that good. I'm not going to let -1.5 in that opening game. Maybe they win 5-0, but just for me, I'm just not sure because I know Copenhagen, interesting results, and I just don't know what's going to happen in that game. And, some of the other games that, like, I know you're not touching the Milan game because of I like them a little bit, but that probably wouldn't be my top 5 games of the week to bet.
They're the kind of team that, like, I can't, just from watching them as a fan, like, I can't trust them. They could go into Austria and come away with a draw today, like 1-1, and they would be happy with that because they'll say, we're in a weaker group with Chelsea and two other smaller leagues. We're not gonna. We'll capitalize on the home ones, get a few 1-pointers from the away, and we'll finish first or second in this group for sure. So that's why I don't like AC Milan. Now, maybe they prove me wrong and come out and win 3-0 here. That would be great because I would like them to be a more trustworthy team. Because honestly, Italy doesn't have a strong team like PSG in France, Bayern in Germany, even though those two leagues are a little lesser because those teams dominate. Yeah. Italy doesn't have that. And I guess it makes it good for competition because, anybody's in the title race. Like if you look at the odds before the season started, they were one of the few leagues where you can get every team at plus money because they weren't sure who was going to win between Inter, AC. For some reason, they had Juventus up there, which I still don't believe in as a good team. Like they have the midfield, but they're always lacking that goal scorer. And if you look at their recent matches, they've already drawn 3 of their 5 matches this season. So that's not a team where I'm running to go to the window with when you can't score goals. And now they're going to be in PSG today. Good luck. Good luck against a team that's scoring like 5 goals a game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like for me, match day 1. Once again, we talked about if you were here yesterday. I know we don't have a lot of people watching right now, but if you're here yesterday, there's a decent amount watching. And we talked a lot about these games today, so I'm going to rehash a little bit and kind of maybe break a little bit down a little bit further, but. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about some of the strategy going into this week because, there's 8 games today. There's 8 games tomorrow. And I know there's the Europa. I know there's 16 games because there's 32 teams. I think they're all on Thursday.
Yeah, can I just say something that bothers me about that? I don't understand why they're like they do. I get the Champions League Tuesday, Wednesday split. That's normally what they did. But if you're gonna add the Europa Conference League, why do you already have like over 12 games for Europa League on Thursday, and then you're throwing like another 12, 16 for Conference League all on the same day? Like, it doesn't make sense. I would like to see. I get they don't want to compete with Champions League on the Tuesday, Wednesday, but I wouldn't mind to see a few Europa games on the Wednesday or something like that.
They usually do because of the the town. If if the teams are playing in the same town, like if you ever see, like sometimes there are some of those early games. But yeah, for me, instead of playing, you got the Conference League. And just gonna go through because there's 16 games. There's 32 teams in all three competitions. So, some of these teams that are maybe the games that are maybe a little bit further east, in Europe, like if Başakşehir was home or any whatever. Why not play them in a third window on Wednesday? Play it like you got the 12:45 and 3. Why not play them at 10:45 or something like that? Which is 3:45 in England. But further west it's 5:45, 6 o'clock, which is what some of these kickoffs are anyway. I mean, if you're kicking off at 12:45 in Spain, it's a 6:45 kickoff. So I put an extra window in Wednesday. And I know they do, like they usually do have an extra window on the Thursdays, the early games when teams are playing in Baku or wherever they're playing, like basically in Asia.
Pretty much.
Yeah, just throw, and if if you threw 4 matches in on an early window on Wednesday before the Champions League, it doesn't get in the way. It's crazy because there's basically 16 games at 12:45 and 16 games at 3 o'clock on Thursday. Not optimal for bettors, obviously, and not optimal if you're a fan of the game and you're trying to watch some of these games. I mean, I got 3 TVs set up down here. I can't watch these games. I can't watch 7 games. I can watch 3. And I mean, to be honest, like you can't even really watch 3. You're only watching like 1 at a time. But I think for bettors and when this stuff starts to go forward in the next few years, as the American market gets bigger, which I think it is, I think you're going to start to see that stuff being more spread out. Maybe they'll play some. Obviously it's tough to play on Mondays and Fridays because of the league schedule, but if you bump games around, I think a lot of this stuff is going to start being moved around for TV. But that's see. But yeah, it is crazy because you got all these extra games.
And even from a handicapping aspect, like it's only the second year of the Conference League, which I get. It's probably going to get better. They're just kind of like throwing it in there. They needed a time slot for it because it hasn't been like around that long. But the issue that I have with it, like if you're going to have 16 Europa, 16 Conference Leagues, well, the Europa League is where the higher quality teams are. So I'm going to put more attention to that and focus on those matches. And once I've looked at 16 Europa League games, like I don't want to look at another 16 in the Conference League, especially when these are lesser talented teams. At least if they're on another day, if it's a little more spread out, that gives me time to look deeper into a game. And maybe I find something in the Conference League I like because you really got to take a dive into some of these small leagues. But yeah, as of right now, like you could pick up 6 to 8 games you like in Europa League, and then you could just say, I don't even want to look at the Conference League, which is kind of what I did last year because it was still new and I was still trying to understand how it was going to work. But now I would like to look at it, but it's something that I'm probably going to, again, I'll see if there's maybe the odd good value game on the surface and look deeper into that. But it's a competition I'm going to wait till Europa and Champions League whittle down. And then that one will have higher quality competition in it, obviously. And it'll be much easier to handicap from that aspect as well.
Yeah. I mean, these are, there's the 16 games in the Europa Conference League, both teams plus money. Villarreal against Poznan 500.
Slaughter.
Fiorentina against Rigas minus 1100. They, both teams plus money. Both teams plus money. Anderlecht against Silkeborg minus 170, but close. Both teams plus money. So Basel minus 800. Both teams plus money. Both teams are Slova and Bratislava is minus 145, but manageable. Your garden here basically plus money. All the teams plus money. The same thing, plus money, basically the same. So you either have these blowout games where teams, you got a couple games where Ajax, Alkmaar is minus 195, West Ham minus 550, but there is some, mold against game. Like to be honest, I'm probably not betting these games because they're tough to bet. Like you said, I mean, maybe Slavia Prague. I know they're good, playing against Sivaspor. I'm getting them at, even money, basically. That might be worth a bet.
They've been rough to me this year, man. Like, I don't know what it is. They're not the same. Olympiacos isn't the same. It feels like there's just a whole.
These teams are tough, man. Partizan Belgrade against Slovakia. I mean, these teams are all basically the same. It is a tough competition to handicap. And when you're, once again on Thursday, you're looking at these 16 games. You got Real Betis, who just played really well on the weekend. You got, Union Berlin and USG from Belgium. I mean, two really good teams. I mean, and USG just about, just almost qualified for the Champions League. Malmo and Braga, Braga obviously a good team. Malmo's a good team. Arsenal
actually really good. Braga. If you've watched some of their league matches, they're surprisingly really good in Portugal this year.
I saw Braga play in a Europa League final in 2011 I went, where was it, in Dublin. I saw them play Porto. It was the first European final I ever went to. But it was interesting.
Crazy, all Portuguese final.
Yeah, it was, and the Queen was there for the first time in like 100 years. So like the Queen was driving around Dublin, and it was like the crazy. I have a picture somewhere of her waving to me. It was pretty crazy. Fenerbahce and Dynamo. The team, the teams we're saying here: Rennes, Ludogorets, Roma, Eindhoven, Bodo Glimt. I mean, these teams, Nantes and Olympiacos. Sheriff, Karabag, Red Star Belgrade, Monaco, Ferencváros against Trabzonspor. These teams are all like, a level above. Lazio, Feyenoord, United Sociedad. I think you're gonna get a little more. Trying to think of the word. I think you have a little more confidence betting some of these games, maybe. Even a Lazio Feyenoord, even it's basically all plus money. I would have more confidence betting on Lazio than I would for one of those teams in the Europa Conference League that is also basically the same odds there. Just because these teams are better teams.
Yeah, and if you look at even all the 16 games, I would say 80% of those teams have made a Champions League appearance in the last 5 years. Whether it be through winning their league or going the distance in the qualifiers like a year ago or two, like Sheriff was. Olympiacos is a team that's been there. PSV used to dominate the Eredivisie before Ajax came along and started to dominate the last few years. But yeah, like all of these have made. I think even Ferencváros has been in the Champions League the last.
Sheriff right here at plus 230. I mean, I think people forget this because I feel like it was 3 years ago, but Sheriff beat Real Madrid last year. Real Madrid, the European champions. Sheriff was one of the only teams that actually beat them along the way.
Yeah, they went off, man. They beat Shakhtar, that group. They were going off that year.
That's this once again. PSV Eindhoven, who just lost Gakpo. Bodo Glimt. This Bodo Glimt team at plus 650. They're a pretty good team. There's some value in some. We'll talk more about these Wednesday and Thursday, but you could get Bodo Glimt probably double chance at maybe like 220, 230. But there's some very good. This Union Berlin team all of a sudden is pretty good because USG is pretty good as well. But Union Berlin all of a sudden, I see where they are in the Bundesliga.
Oh, they're, I think, in a top 4 spot right now. They've had a solid start to the season.
It's amazing how this team, yeah, you're right there. They're fourth. So, I mean, this team has just, come up from the Bundesliga 2 and just really been very good. As opposed to some of the other teams that come up. Obviously Werder Bremen is back here and doing pretty well, but
surprisingly,
I stay away. I bet a couple. I bet Bayern a couple times already this year with these 1-1 draws, and I'm just gonna stay away from that league. I can't be bothered.
And Bayern's a team that's worrying. They're gonna worry me in Champions League just because. Okay, so like you lost your best striker, probably arguably the best striker on the planet. You replace him with Mane, but I don't think it's going to make the same impact as having a Lewandowski there striking. Plus, like they spent a lot of money to fix up their midfield and defense, but I still don't know if the results are going to be there right away. Like their defense has always had issues. They're a team that I think they just play loosely because they think we can score 7 goals. It doesn't matter if we allow 2. But when it comes to these better teams like the Man Cities and the Real Madrids, you got to play defense because they're not just going to let you cut them open.
Yeah, exactly. I just, and that's one of the reasons, Lewandowski going to Barcelona now maybe is giving the Barca some juice in the Champions League and, some of these odds here. It's crazy. Bayern Munich, I mean, once again, like they play Wednesday. I mean, you don't usually see Bayern Munich in a Champions League group stage game at minus 118 or minus 115. I mean, they're usually minus 500, minus 600. They're playing Inter in Milan, and it's I think some of that has to do with the way they've started the season, but also, maybe there's some questions about this team.
Yeah, Inter Milan, though, they're a team I don't even trust, though, because they made, obviously, they got Lukaku back on loan there, trying to relive the glory years from 2 years ago when they won the title in Italy. But, I don't think their attack is really going to be much improved. And if anything, they lost more midfield depth in the transfer window than they gained back. So I can't see them being as strong as a team. I thought they were going to be a really good team, but from the way I've seen them perform to start the season, like maybe they start to put it together in a few weeks, but they're a team right now that, and that's why I think they're part of the reason why I think Italy's wide open. I actually thought Inter Milan was maybe going to come back for the title this year, but right now, to me, it looks like AC Milan is still the team to beat in Italy.
Yeah, I think it's probably AC Milan there. Starting to look at, Chelsea's now minus 250 in this game.
Did you see the money come in against Real Madrid? That dropped from like a minus 200 to minus 150 overnight.
Yeah, that's minus 145 now. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I'm waiting to see. Let me see if on Twitter.
I would be shocked if Real Madrid didn't come out and give like their best effort in this first Champions League match, especially when you're the defending league champions. Like, you got a high bar to meet from last season. Like, you better come out with every ounce you have and win this game. Like, it shouldn't be an issue to win in Scotland.
Yeah, I can't. Let's see if I don't get it, to be honest. I'm also pretty. They're to me they're just very, very good team. Let me see, Chelsea FC. Let's see if this lineup's posted. Dynamo. I'd like to look at this lineup because I don't know why this line went so crazy for Chelsea. There we go.
That's going to be an interesting one to watch personally for me, just because, like, I don't know. Chelsea's like Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know which one's going to show up today, but
I'll be honest. That's why, like, I don't love Yeah, I don't really love this game. We'll wait to see if the lineup's posted. I don't. But that line yesterday when we were talking about it was like minus 195, right? Now it's minus 260. So I don't know if somebody's out for Zagreb. Maybe somebody's out for Zagreb. That would obviously change my thoughts on the game. I don't want to hear from Toot Chilaban here.
I gotta try and look into that while you're doing that. Maybe
Kepa apparently is starting. Wow. Lineup. See my guy, Chuchalista 8. Twitter, great place when you're looking for this stuff, when you're looking for info. Very quickly.
They do have Zagreb has one of their starting defenders.
There we go. Confirmed
out.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we got Aubameyang, Sterling, Havertz, Chilwell, Mount, Kovacic, Reece James, Koulibaly, Fofana, Azpilicueta, and then Kepa in goal. So pretty attacking lineup there. 3-4-3.
Yeah, and it looks like for Dynamo Zagreb, they're going to be missing Bosco Sutalo today. So,
oh man, see, this is now
big key defender there, but that'll just help Chelsea out. I think that just forces Zagreb probably to push their attack a little harder.
I will say this. This is kind of why I do, go. Let's see who's out. (3-1). This is why I kind of like moving this show to the time where we can look at these lineups, especially these early games. Because this line's going to move like crazy, I think. So minus 1.5 is plus 110. Yesterday, I told people to take Dynamo Zagreb and draw. Now, when I look at it, Aubameyang minus 118 to score anytime. Man, that's an attacking lineup. I would probably tell you to take Chelsea minus 1.5 at this point with that lineup. I don't know if that lineup does that change anything for you. I don't know if I love the game, to be honest. Like I'm not.
You got to see how they come out and perform still.
That's the other thing too. Like if you're new to the show or you're like I think. You might be like this too. Like are you wanting to see how the first 10 minutes are maybe before you put some bets in? Or are you trying to take a chance and hope Chelsea doesn't go ahead 2-0 in the first 10 or 1-0 in the first 10 minutes? Is that something maybe you do some of these games where you don't have a feel for it as much?
I'll actually wait 30 minutes. 30 minutes is when I really have a good idea of who's got control of the match. Because I can see stuff happen in the first 10, 20 minutes, but the game hasn't settled by then. And I've seen it a lot of times where it goes completely south after that point. So I think 30 minutes is a good indicator if you're looking to live bet. Obviously, you're sitting there holding your breath. Like, hopefully this thing I want to bet doesn't pan out early.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, sometimes, it happens where, I want to wait I want to wait 15, 20 minutes to see what's going on. And then, Barcelona scores 3 goals or, it's just like, there goes that. But to be honest, I mean, some of these games where, Chelsea's minus 260.
The other thing that bugs me is this is Aubameyang's first appearance with the team. So we don't know how he's just going to fit into the lineup from a chemistry standpoint if things are just going to be all nice and smooth there. So that's why it's a tricky one. You'd think that obviously the attack would be a lot better in better shape. But again, this Chelsea team, man, they've been so up and down. You don't know what team you're going to get.
Yeah. My parlay today was, just so people kind of know what I took, I have City, Madrid, PSG. I have one more team. I think I put Milan in, maybe. Maybe I'm trying to think. I think maybe I know I put those three in. Maybe I think you know what? I think with Benfica. So that's what's that parlay pay?
That line come down on Benfica. That looked like that came down.
Yeah, minus 330.
That was like 400 yesterday.
Yeah, there it's come down a little bit.
Dortmund's gone up.
Yeah, parlay pays plus 271. I think that's about what I played. Maybe I took. I think I have one where I put AC Milan in because they're minus one, basically even money. Just hoping they win, maybe small. And that's almost, it's plus 467. So I actually do like that one a little bit as well. Or you could just kind of go with these. If you put City, Real Madrid, and PSG in, that pays 145, or that pays plus 185. And City PSG minus 145. If I did that, I would probably do -1 Asian handicaps for both. But those are the ones I put in for today. Kind of looking at that. These early games. I don't know. Did you put any plays in yet today?
Like paid plays,
No. Did you put any? Did you bet any on any of these? You have any?
Yeah.
The straight bets?
Oh yeah, I got a few straight bets on these for sure. I mean they are my paid plays, so I don't want to give away.
Yeah, no,
much,
yeah, of course, yeah. I'm just, I said so,
definitely.
I mean, I'll be transparent. Sometimes I give these picks out, and I'm like, I'm not betting this game, and then I get mad because they win, and then the next day I'll pay them, but like sometimes like what I talk about these I think City wins easily. I think,
and a lot of money's coming. I think that was even minus 250 or 275 yesterday. So
yeah, I think PSG wins easily. So that's minus 145 right there. So now I'm going to look for, when I'm looking for maybe a third team to put in, where can I get value? Well, if I put Benfica in minus 330, that's plus 120. So that's not bad. If I put in Real Madrid, like I said, that's 185. I think that's good. I think Real Madrid wins today.
That's a line that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what's going on with that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think they're just people are just Celtic, maybe in world team, and people. I don't either. I don't get it either, to be honest. And then you put maybe if you I'm confident in Milan today. I know this Salzburg team is pretty good. They sold some players, whatever. So maybe put them in as a base, but then that gets it up to plus 236, which is pretty good for a 3-team parlay where two of the teams are minus 330 and minus 350. So, and then maybe Real Madrid, AC Milan, and then Benfica. That's 5 teams. Now, now we're getting a little wild. 5-team parlays don't come in all the time, but maybe it does today. So this 5-team parlay pays plus 639. So I don't mind that. If you're looking for a little bit maybe safer play, if you don't like Milan in that game, I mean you could throw Leipzig or Dortmund in, but once again, I don't maybe Chelsea. That's 414. I don't love Dortmund at minus 320. I don't. Leipzig should win, but that game this weekend. So sometimes I get a little bit worried about their performances on the weekend, and I know Champions League is different. It's almost like you almost have to have short memories sometimes when you're doing this stuff. But I think there is some opportunity to make some money in these games today.
Yeah, definitely. I know what you mean with the form, because I know a team screws you on the weekend and you don't want to take them in Champions League. But I think with some of these bigger teams, like I know Man City drew 1-1 on the weekend, but like they might have been looking ahead to this match because they were playing a bad Aston Villa, which played actually very well in that game. But up to that point, Aston Villa, the defense was horrendous. Man City had a lot of missed opportunities in that match as well. So that's one where like sometimes you just got to think that the big teams are going to come to play. And this is the competition, obviously, that they want to win. So I expect some good efforts from most of the bigger teams in Europe. And if they don't, then that's just going to be disappointing on their part, because a lot of these matchups, when you look at them, just the talent outweighs the other team.
I think that's what I was going to say. When you look, they're all Champions League teams. Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Only 2 people watching the show. Poor results. Thanks, buddy. It's a new show, by the way. We just started again. When you are looking at these teams, Maccabi Haifa, who's in the tournament first time, Shakhtar Donetsk, even a Salzburg, who's been all right. I mean, there's no comparison to the leagues. Probably, if you put Leeds United, or if you put, one of Crystal Palace in some of these leagues, they're making Champions League. I mean, the level of play is just so much better. And results on the weekend in domestic leagues, doesn't always translate to this Champions League, because these teams are, like you said, ready to go. But also the level of play is just, it's nowhere near. So I think sometimes people get kind of sucked in sometimes by a hype of Celtic. Hey, we just beat Rangers 4-0. First of all, it's a derby match. You can't take anything from that. It was 3-0, 2 goals in like real quick succession, whatever. You can't take a lot from that. And second of all, it's Scotland. Basically the 18th division of English football. So it's a joke, kind of. But you have to say, Real Madrid is they're beating up on teams in La Liga, and they're the European champions. Is the game gonna be pretty? I don't know. It might be 1-0. They might just, Celtic presses. They press, they foul, they do this stuff. So they're not gonna make it easy. But we watched that game in the final, and after the first 20 minutes. Real Madrid settled down and took care of Liverpool. So, and Liverpool and Celtic, no comparison really, the level. So, you have to. If I say, and you recognize, if I see it, oh man, I'm on this game. Real Madrid, I'm on this Real Madrid team. If they played on Mars, I'd be on them. If they played wherever, if you're gonna give me minus 145. Against Celtic, I'm taking it every time, and I'll put it in, at minus 145. If I parlay it with Manchester City, it's plus whatever. You're getting plus money. If I parlay it with PSG, you're getting plus money. So if Real Madrid wins the game, you're probably winning a parlay. That's the way you got to think about it. But you have to, it's whatever. It's the way if you think if you have if you handicap in a game and you say, oh, I just don't see any way this team loses, even though it's minus 130. Go strong with it. Go strong with that game and kind of, do that. So, all right. So, which games are you going to be watching here at? Let me see. Where's the schedule? Which games are you going to be watching here at 12:45? You're going to watch Chelsea Zagreb here?
Yeah, probably that one. I don't have an interest in Copenhagen and Dortmund. If Dortmund doesn't win that game, then that's just like money's come back on them now.
I know what you're watching at 3. Maybe watching Milan there. So
I almost was thinking an under in that game because Salzburg, they score a lot at home. They're not going to be able to score on Milan's defense the way they just wreck teams in their own league. And like I said, I'm not sure with this AC Milan team, they could come out, score a goal, play defense, win 1-0. They could come out and play for a draw if they want. I really don't know what their mindset is in here. I would think they come out strong, but I also think defense is probably more of their strength. So I see that one being more of an under, definitely. And I think it's plus money right now too.
Yep. It is.
Oh, it's
about the same. Yeah, it moved up. It's about the same there. Yeah, -1.
I think it was plus 110 yesterday. So as the money came in, I guess on AC Milan, because even they were plus money yesterday, money came in on the under as well.
Man, it's crazy. There's been a lot of line movement just in one day.
Yeah, Dortmund just moved another like 30. It was minus 334 like 5 minutes ago. Now it's back to minus 300.
Probably people watching the show.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chelsea's minus 250. I see on my screen.
Yeah, that line went crazy. I mean, I know that was minus 185, minus 190 yesterday. So everybody's hammering Chelsea in that game, which, maybe makes me think the draw and Zagreb might be, interesting. But once again, seeing the lineup, I probably would switch my pick now to Chelsea. So, all right. So that's our show for today. We're going to go watch some matches. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. doing the same thing. We're going to talk more. We're going to talk the Wednesday matches specifically. And then there's some Copa Libertadores. I don't even – that ties over, so I don't even know if you bet that. But there's also Copa Sudamericana.
Oh, that tie's not over to Flamengo.
Yeah. That's right. It could be 8. Yeah, it could be 8-0 here. But,
4-0 is never good enough for that.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so thanks for all the comments and everything, Chris. Keep watching, man. Just keep winning. It doesn't matter who's watching, man. Just win money, and we'll win you some money. So, all right, we will see you